From the campaign trail here in Colorado,
we will rebuild our roads, our bridges, our tunnels, our highways,
to the inaugural address.
We will build new roads and highways and bridges.
Donald Trump's discourse on America's infrastructure has been long on promises. But now that he's in office, what's likely to actually happen in Colorado?
Trump is a builder, right? That's what he does in his world and in business.
The president has said that it's probably not going to be known to us in the first 100 days. It's more like a second 100-day effort in transportation and infrastructure.
So it's likely that we'll see some building or rebuilding under the new administration. But will it be to the tune of $1 trillion like Donald Trump pledged during his campaign? Voters are certainly hoping so. A Gallup poll just as the new president was taking office showed that Americans consider his promise on infrastructure spending to be his most important. Many lobbyists and politicians at the state capitol are saying that Colorado's transportation infrastructure is their top priority this session. And they told us they're hoping for some help from Washington, but not expecting much.
Traditionally, counting on the federal government for transportation money is at best unreliable.
It will be at least a year before we really see meaningful discussions about transportation at the federal level. But in the meantime, it's imperative that the state be prepared for those conversations, and because invariably there will be a requirement for matching grants or matching dollars to meet whatever dollars may come available for the state.
For now, it looks like any federal funding would come in the form of public-private partnerships, like the ones that finance the express lane on US 36 to Boulder and parts of the Fast Track's commuter rail service. But seeking funds from private investors doesn't come without risks.
The problem with that is when you have equity raised by private investors and money borrowed by private investors, that still all has to be paid back by government.
The proposal so far about a tax credit, a huge tax credit for private companies to do it is I think people are pretty skeptical about that. I mean, either it becomes a boondoggle that's so good for private companies, but it doesn't mean they're going to build what the public needs to be built in a particular city or state.
Meanwhile, Colorado lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are discussing putting a transportation tax hike on the ballot in November to fund the $9 billion that CDOT says it needs over the next decade for our roads and highways. In a state where new taxes are never popular, some say that's a sign that overall there's little faith here that the $1 trillion promised by Donald Trump will ever materialize. For ColoradoPolitics.com, I'm Mary McCarthy.